The Chattanooga Mocs softball program started conference play this past weekend against rival UNC Greensboro. The Mocs took 2 out of 3 against their rivals. A really, really good start for the softball team for us here with the Chattanooga Mocs. We had a midweek this past week, or yesterday, really, on Tuesday, and we played Tennessee Tech, got the win over Tech 1-0. What's up? Welcome into Mocs Softball Weekly. I'm your host, Greg Larnerd, also the assistant coach of one of the assistant coaches of the Chattanooga Mocs softball program. Follow us all over social media at Chatted Up Sports, wherever you get your podcasts as well. Make sure you follow us and listen in whenever it's convenient for you. We've been doing a lot of recorded shows. We've got some live shows like this one that we'll bring to you every single week as well. We may be doing a little college basketball preview with a special guest this evening, so stay tuned for that one as well. Again, that is Wednesday evening. But right now, we've got a special guest of our own. He joins us every single week to talk Chattanooga Mocs softball. It is the Hall of Fame head coach in his 24th season with the program, and at head of the program, Mr. Frank Reed. Coach, good morning. Welcome in. And all right, conference play is started, and you and I talked a lot about UNC Greensboro last week. On paper, hey, they should have swept us. They should have done this, that, and the other thing with their big numbers and the offense and all that. But you and I talked a lot about, all right, how are they on defense? How is the pitching? Can we get to the pitching? Can we take advantage of the shoddy defense? And we were certainly able to do that. And on the other side, the pitching was able to hold UNC Greensboro down. Talk to me a little bit about, specifically on Saturday, when we were able to sweep Greensboro and take the series in one day, and how important that was for our team.
I think the big thing for that was we were able to run roll them that first ball game and score a bunch of runs. And so I think that put, shock or fear or whatever, I don't know what you would say. So to get that big victory there, I think was huge. We got great pitching from Peja that game and put some runs on the board. So we played solid defense. So you're supposed to get wins. If you do 2 of 3 things well, you're supposed to get the wins. And we took advantage. I don't know, they made an error too. I'm not really sure. And it played out in our favor. So which was pretty cool. Put the ball in play, make them fill the ball. But they're still a solid team. I mean, they were hitting 430, 440 going into the weekend. With 47 home runs. So they're on track to hit 50 home runs. Hit 100 home runs this season, which it goes to prove. The first on Saturday they didn't hit any. So, I don't think. I think they had 4 on the weekend. But anyway, so Sunday was a little different, in the fact that, we had crazy wind and the ball was just doing crazy things. You just got to get down in the air if you're going to jump out of there. So, wish we could have got the sweep, changed some things around going into Sunday's game, which is, hindsight 2020, we may have done it a little bit differently. But the sweep is huge. You get off to a good start. You lose 2 games, 3 games on the first couple of weekends. I'm saying the team that's only got 5 or 6 losses are going to win the conference. So you don't give you a lot of margin for error, moving forward to be able to secure that. So. And then again, I'll go back to my thing I always say. We'd love to win the conference tournament. Conference series like we've done last year. It's not a prerequisite to getting to where we need to be. I said conference tournament on that last week, and so we still play for that as well.
Yeah, it's a good way to start the conference season as well. Taking 2 out of 3 against your rival schools, usually the school that's right up there with Chattanooga at the top of the conference when it's all said and done. Most years, obviously that could change this year, but let's hope that it doesn't. And look, on Saturday, you're right. The pitching was fantastic, kept UNC Greensboro in the yard, and that's something that's very important because you saw what they did on Sunday. Hit 4 home runs, had a bunch of doubles. The extra base hits were there. What do you think was the biggest difference between Peja from Saturday and then Peja from Sunday, where she just didn't quite seem as sharp as she did on Saturday?
Well, we talked about that a little bit. It's on me. Just trying to maybe mentally get those kids prepared. I don't think Peja anticipated I think she anticipated maybe pitching sometime during the Sunday game, but I don't think she anticipated the start. And I went back with her because of the strong outing that she had on Saturday. So we've had that conversation. We had that conversation yesterday at Tech. I said, be ready. I mean, you're always ready. It doesn't matter if you start or you leave or whatever. I think you need to be in a situation because she's a pitcher that takes a little time to warm up, and so you try to grab her out of the bullpen. She needs to feel like she's ready. So we talked about that. We talked about some situational things where, and all our pitchers need to hear it. We've talked about that with them too. Is look at the game, see what's happening. If you're up for coming out of the bullpen, even if you're number 2 out of the bullpen, you never know. So if you need to be pitching or throwing so that I can say, hey, let's go, whether it be Paige or Riley, Alyssa or Taylor, let's go. I need you, you'd be ready. So you can anticipate how the game's going. And sometimes we get them up and they're throwing and we don't need them. And that's good. All that does is get some extra bullpen time. So it's something that we probably need to talk to. But, you're going to have your days, even the best of the best have their days where they're not as sharp or whatever as they have been in the past. And that's to be expected. So we just need to fill in the gaps. So if we're getting, okay pitching and we got strong hitting, that feels enough. We got, we're pitching strong or hitting's not as good, we can stay in the ball game that way and play a little bit of defense behind them. So it's a combination of a lot of things. I think another too, this is a team mindset. I think it seemed so easy on Sunday, even though that last game we beat them, only by 1 run. It seems so easy to get it done. I think we sort of maybe sit back and think, well, Sunday's going to be a breeze. We got to have a big crowd out. The fans were in our home park, and sometimes just taking that mental preparation thing for granted instead of just always being on spot.
Yeah, you got to be able to, and that's something that we tried to talk to them about, going into that last game was, hey, we may have won those first 2 games. You get an opportunity to sweep somebody. You have to take advantage of that opportunity. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it. I want to go back to Saturday for a second because we did have the win, where we run ruled them in the first game. And then the second game was a little more difficult. Maybe they came out with the same mindset of like, hey, we were just able to do this to Greensboro. We'll be able to do it again in game 2. They threw their best pitcher in Ward, and she did a really good job of stymieing us all the way into extra innings. There was an error by Kaylee Snell in that first inning that allowed them to get 2 runs. That was the only, runs that Taylor allowed in that game. She pitched fantastic. And then you find a way to score a run in the middle of the game. And then it comes down to the 7th inning where you're down 2-1 and you need a big hit. You turn to Abby Bunt coming off the bench. She delivered big. Talk to me a little bit about her. And then Jace Purdy in extra innings getting an opportunity to get the walk-off to right center.
What's cool to see I guess, be a hero, whatever you can put. I would say, I told Jace, I said, hey, give me a line drive in the middle of the field there and be a hero. I mean, I think it was first or second pitch, and bam, and she did that. And and Abby's done some of the same things. Just watching them have that mindset to be able to get up there in that situation and get a base hit is great. It goes back to preparation. You've been a part of the conversation about preparing ourselves and understanding what's happening to us in the box. What's the pitcher doing to us? How is she pitching me? How is she pitching the team? And understanding instead of just going up there and not taking all the tools with you to be able to be successful. I think we're doing a better job of that. And at least they're reaching out and saying, "What do you think? What do I need to? You think I need to do?" If they're not actually figuring it out on their own. We're giving them feedback. You got to be proud of both of those. Jason, everyday player, Abby. She's played on and off, but she's been that off the bench hitter for us and showed some signs of doing some great things. So, and you need that. And another one that's been doing a good job with that is Bailey Pitts. So, Bailey was a starter last year. Just trying to find that place for Bailey, but she's done a good job. Can't take anything away from those 3 kids.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most difficult jobs in the game of softball is to be that pinch hitter. We have a really good one who's unfortunately on the shelf right now in Anna Dovey. So you're looking at some other kids to step up, and that's definitely got to be a bit difficult going from being a starter all of last year and a major contributor within our lineup last year to this year not really having a spot in terms of Bailey Pitts and having to always stay ready. And I know I've talked to Bailey and Abby and some of the other pinch hitters about, hey, just as it starts, the game continues to go on, we start to get into the middle innings, make sure that you're ready to go, because it could be boom, drop of a hat, we get ourselves into a situation, we can use a pinch hitter, and we want you to be able to be ready. Talk to me about the importance and how difficult you feel like that job is. I mean, you've seen it for a very long time now, and you've coached a lot of kids that have had to be in that role, and how important that role is just to the success of a team.
It might be the toughest job in the sport. Come off the bench, you try to get ready, you take some swings, hopefully you're down in the bullpen somewhere taking some swings, and you try to get ready, body-wise, and then you got to get yourself mentally prepared to be able to do that. You talked about Anna last year. She was, I watched her go 3-2 count numerous times coming off the bench, and then be able to hit a home run or drive one in the gap and score the runs, and she just had that mindset that, she's waiting for the right pitch. So it's a tough job. Some people are just not adept to doing that. And if you find somebody that can come off the bench and give you those times, they're just as important to me as the pitcher that pitches the great game, or the defensive player that makes the great play, or the kid that's in the lineup every day that's hitting 300. Those people coming off that bench are the ones that solidify big wins for you, solidify big runs for you. We've been years that we didn't really have that person, so you just sort of guess, hey, well, this day we try this one, and some people you just don't get that good feel for. And then you get somebody out there that battles, and I tell them, sometimes it's not a strikeout that's a bad at bat. You battle to be able to try to get the ball in play. And I think that's what's important. But you're right; those kids are so important. I don't know that you can put a price tag on them. I'm probably saying that if you did a poll across the country and you asked every coach, I would say 50% of the teams would say, we don't really have that kid. We have somebody that we put there. We have somebody that we know that when they come up there that, you're probably going to get production. I don't know that a lot of teams have it.
Yeah, we've got a couple of girls that are able to do that, and they've done it with some relative success. And I know Bailey Pitts, you mentioned her by name specifically, and lately she's got some pinch hits, and she hasn't really been able to swing the bat because they hadn't really pitched to her. I think her last 3 pinch hit opportunities she's walked. But, you have to, in that moment, I know you want to hit, but in that moment, a good team at bat is, hey, still getting on base, passing the bat, allowing the next person to hopefully be able to do their job as well, and really not swinging at bad pitches. So, as frustrating as it may be to just work walks and not be able to actually swing the bat and contribute the way that you might want to in terms of driving in runs or hitting a home run or driving the ball in the gap, but it's still important to still get on base and do what you need to do to help your team win. All right, I want to touch on Taylor Long. We talked about her, being fantastic in that second game on Saturday, and then she follows it up with a complete game shutout, 1-hitter on Tuesday against Tennessee Tech at Tennessee Tech in Cookeville. Talk to me a little bit about her 2 games and how you feel like she was able to be as successful as she was.
Yeah, Taylor, last year she was rocking it. I think she made a couple of pitchers of the week, just a bunch of strikeouts. Was doing a great job. We come back on a day off. We win a series on Sunday. We come back on Monday or Tuesday or after a day off, and she can't pitch anymore. She has something in her back, and so we thought Pay Minor would go get her patched up and get her going. It took almost to the end of the season to even get her back. And then she still wasn't herself, not that Taylor will pass. And so coming back out in this fall, she seems strong again, and maybe even more stronger than she was. It's just finding that, after coming off of an injury, just finding that mental place that you need to be in as a pitcher. Hey, I can still pop that curve. I can still throw that change and that rise or whatever pitch that she throws. And just trying to get back to that. And so it's taking a little time. Fall I don't think we had enough really time to be able to get her there, but I like the progress she's making, the confidence she's, getting from this. And so, she's going to be big. She's going to be big down the road in combo with the other pitchers. So I'm happy for her. She's a great kid. It works really, really hard. And she's not taking anything for granted. She's not asking anybody to give her anything. She puts in the time. And if you've never been through a major injury like that, if you don't really understand the difficulty. Some people adapt better than others. It's like a knee injury. Some people come back and I had my daughter tore ACL her senior year in high school. She went through 6 months, or 4.5 months actually. She was back out on the field, threw her brace down, and never looked back. Some kids can't do that. They have to have more time, or they always wear a brace for the rest of their life. So it's just getting through that. But she's done a good job adapting mentally with that, and that's what I'm most proud of her for. Understanding that she's got the tools, she's got all the tools in her toolbox to be able to even do greater things than she's doing now. And we're excited for her.
One big thing that I noticed about her game yesterday, and we've talked about this as a coaching staff a little bit, as her walks have been a little bit high. Her strikeouts are obviously high, but her walks have been a little bit high as well. Yesterday in the game on Tuesday against Tennessee Tech, she struck out 8, only walked 3 over 7 innings. So I thought that was a nice little improvement. And one thing that I did just notice was our team, in terms of walks and strikeouts, we walked 3 times, didn't strike out at all. So even though it was kind of an ugly game in terms of a hitting performance, we only had 4 hits in the game, and the only run that we scored was off of a hit by pitch from Olivia LePerry. You put the ball in play, you try to make things happen. The wind was swirling. The wind was crazy yesterday out in Cookeville. Unfortunately, neither team was able to really take advantage of it. But talk to me a little bit about that win specifically on Tuesday against Tennessee Tech, and how sometimes you need to find a way. Good teams need to find a way to win, and sometimes you have to win ugly, and sometimes you have to win those low-scoring games.
Well, I hear a lot of teams do not put a lot of emphasis on their midweeks. They use them for whatever reason, but it could just take a bad midweek game to carry over into a weekend series, and I just think it's important that you play well. And you're right about yesterday's game. It was almost like you were playing in the twilight zone with the wind gusting, and people it's just really hard to focus in on what's going on. Feel like at points there, feel like the wind was actually moving you, on the field because it was so strong. But both teams played in that. So that being said, but. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to transition from a bad midweek game into because you're always thinking what I did wrong, what we need to work on, instead of just getting on a roll. I liken it to a lot like in our first series that when we first started the season, we lost a few games and we were sort of trying to find ourselves. And then we went on, we felt like we put it all together. We went on with like a 14-game winning streak. And, the winning streak eventually is going to end, which it did. And, just start another one. But, I think those games built us. Once we got a win, we got another one. It just started adding. And it just sort of fueled the fire. And I think that that's what a midweek does for us. Hopefully we can take what we did this weekend and do better. We've had wins in the last, 2 series with UNCG in the weekend. So hopefully that carries over. The conference is crazy. See where it is on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, speaking of conference play, we're heading to Mercer this weekend, another team that, sometimes gives us troubles in terms of the matchup and whatnot. And, hopefully we're able to buck that trend this coming weekend. And for Mercer, they're 18-16 overall. They lost 2 out of 3 at Sanford this past weekend. So, they want to come home and they want to show up and show out. And, obviously we're the ones kind of with the target on our back. And they lost a couple of close games to Sanford. They lost 7-6 and then 2-1 on Saturday before coming back and exploding on Sunday with a 12-5 victory. What are you expecting out of this weekend from Mercer, and what do you think it's going to take for us to be successful this weekend in your eyes?
They're always a scrappy team. They're going to play their best. I think they didn't have a big win over Georgia Tech last night. So I think they beat Georgia Tech last night.
They did beat Georgia Tech last night, 8-5. Yes.
Yeah. So they're feeling pretty good about themselves, pretty hot. They're ready to rock and roll, and so they'll be waiting for us on Saturday and Sunday as they always are, and hopefully we can do our thing. It's never. I mean, it's always a challenge. It doesn't matter who you're playing in conference when you're going to their place, their fans, their field. It's always a challenge there. So we'll see how it works out. So we're excited about going up there, probably as they're excited about us coming. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it should be a fun trip. Hopefully we'll be able to come out on top and be successful in that game against Mercer. My last question for you, Coach, I always like to end it on a fun one, a lighthearted one. And today, actually yesterday when we were talking before the game, we had some time where the girls were on the bus and they were changing, and the guys were just hanging out on the field. And we were talking a little bit about some music and your chug a lug, and you were singing away. And if you don't know Coach Reed, he when he gets something in his head and something reminds him of a song, he's just going to go into song, and he's a pretty decent singer when it comes to it. But talk to me about your favorite era of music or your favorite type of music.
Somebody can just mention something and it reminds me of a song, and my girl said, "That's not a song," and I always have to Google it and play it for them, show them that it really is a song. And I guess it's a curse. I'm not really sure. Because outside of that, I wouldn't consider myself a big time music person. I listen obviously to music, but my favorite era is I guess old country, George Jones, those types of people, Tammy Wynette, Conway Twitty, those types of people. And people, I mean, you may laugh. I'm sure your generation, probably the people that watch this podcast, they're not as old as me, maybe not know some of those names, but I challenge you to listen to some old country. That's really what country music's founded on. So that's where I like, but I'm not going to say, and I listen to a lot of gospel music as well. Mm-hmm. So it's a combination, but I guess if you got right down to old country, but my favorite all-time singing group is the Temptations.
Okay. So, now I can get down with the Temptations. I like the Temptations.
Yeah, I can just put it on their thing and just play them all day long. So
yeah, that's a good one to end on. Coach Reed again has been our guest for Mocs Softball Weekly. Follow us all over social media at Chat It Up Sports if you want to follow along with our podcast. We do a couple of shows every single week. We're heavy into college basketball right now, obviously with March Madness going on. And shout out to the UTC Mocs men's basketball team taking down Bradley in the NIT tournament to get to the semifinals on Tuesday as well. Coach Reed, we'll be in Macon this weekend. We've got games on Saturday at 1 and 3, and then on Sunday at 1 o'clock. So if you want to come on down to Macon, Georgia, take the little ride down there, come see us, come support us. If not, hey, watch along on ESPN Plus as always. Coach Reed, it's been an honor, my friend. Thanks so much for doing this, for taking the time, and we'll do it again next week. I'll see you out at practice.
Thanks. Hope you guys have a great day.